We're going to be talking about The One Hand. This is a new book from ImageComics, written by Ram V with art by Lawrence Campbell and colors by Lee Lorridge. Clay, we're going to kick it off to you. What did you think of this book?
I dug it. I love the style. I love a good crime book, and I'm always going to, grade it harder against an Ed Brubaker and some of the, that Texas Blood, some of the stuff that already exists out there. But this is a great hook because it takes place in the future, and you have a retiring detective who, on his last day, suddenly a case that he thought he closed is reopened because they find this hand.
He closed twice.
Yeah.
See, that's what I want with the world. I almost felt Batman animated series with this world because, he's walking around, you've got drones, and you got these subways or eight on top. But then you look at the cars, and they're like 1940 style police cars and vehicles. And I'm thinking
that was interesting because they're like year 2300 or something. But did we revert back to neo noir?
You look back at Batman the animated series, it's neo noir. Like you got the old style. But then you got the back computer and you got all these other technology-based things. It's like, okay, so what's the time period set here?
Yeah, and I'm curious why it has to be the future. See, that also gives me the idea of we have this character that's been putting this hand up on sites where murders have been committed, but the way it's sprayed, you could almost see a sixth finger that's not sprayed or not shown in the signature, and that's the next book coming out, right?
Yeah. So here's what Clay's talking about. There's a cipher that's kind of left behind. That was really cool. But Jeff, what did you think of The One Hand?
Oh, I loved it. It's like 7, meets this kind of. It's a neo noir 7 basically, and we're in the very first chapters of it. Super. I did not. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't want to like it because I don't want to add another cost to my monthly pool kind of thing. So I kind of went into it not expecting the worst, but really trying my hardest not to like it. And it blew me. It did. It blew me away because I was just like, I got to go back and pick this thing up.
You had lowered your expectations so much that it just kind of came and popped you right in the face.
Yeah, exactly. That the 6-fingered man, will get you every time. It's super intriguing. I do like the neo noir kind of you're in the future, but it's still kind of dark and gritty, which is let's be honest, that's what we're heading toward.
It's very it's very Blade Runner, like at the beginning.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
Especially when he's in that room with the girl. I'm not gonna say what happened,
this whole scene. This whole scene.
I wish he didn't have such a 90s grunge haircut, the main detective with his long locks. I'm like, get a haircut, punk.
Well, he's an old man. He's about to retire.
That's why it grosses me out. Old people, anyway.
Whoa, hot take over here with Jeff. Cut your hair, old people.
Get a haircut, Tom Petty. Okay, only Tom Petty can pull off that look.
Oh,
not anymore.
Willie Nelson is gonna give you a big.
But that's even longer. That's fine. That's in a ponytail. He wraps it up.
Okay, so it's just the mid length. Anyways,
it's the mid length. Don't do anything with it. Makes it look unwashed and unkempt. Come on.
Yeah,
you're a professional. Also, I'm pretty sure you can't renege on your retirement the day of kind of thing.
Well,
that's why just use the paperwork. And I was like, I don't know if you can do that. I'm like, I understand it's comics, but I don't think
that's why he told her, his captain or whatever, to lose the paperwork or keep it in the desk. Sometimes you forget a little bit.
Yeah,
it's not official till it's turned in.
I've lost paperwork before.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure somebody from HR would be like, hey, where's that paperwork?
Very interesting how there's so much analog paperwork and files and stuff in a world that's like that. So far, it's the future.
Well, maybe that's the safest place.
Maybe.
My company has a link where you can turn in your 2-week notice. You don't have to handwrite it out. It's written for you in a link that you can just do it.
Damn, what kind of
how's the turnover there that they have to do something like that?
Look, we're getting too many of these. Just automate it.
Yeah. Let the AI handle it. All right. Anything else before I do want to talk about the other book real quick. Not so much talk about the other book, but the thing related to this. Any last thoughts on that One Hand? You guys are gonna keep reading because luckily Image sends us the preview, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. My the thing is Ram V is a great comic book writer, so it makes me want to read the issues individually because he's going to leave a great hook at the end to pull you into the next issue. But then I'm tempted to just buy a nice hardcover when it's done because I'm already pulled in by the first issue.
Yeah, it may be a trade weight thing, not necessarily because it's not great, but because it might read better all together, kind of thing.
And I would probably revisit it as a book.
So hopefully next week we're going to talk about, in our review, the Six Fingers, which, as you can see here, Dan Waters is writing this one. We do have a different artist, but it's all pretty much related to this case, right? You can see from the covers, Tom Miller, the design on both of them. So these books are linked somehow. I don't know exactly how yet because I haven't read the Six Fingers, but that comes out this week. We'll probably be talking about it on the next week for the review. So,
do we know how long this is going for?
I'm thinking like 6 issues each, maybe, but we'll see. I think I'm gonna make my decision on how to read this after I read the Six Fingers, to see like, okay, is this something that I have to go one-on-one? Are they telling kind of separate stories that have similar things happening on them? I think
that would be the only thing that makes me switch from trade reading to monthly.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, here's some really cool covers, but thanks to Image for letting us read this in advance, even though we did it a little bit later. Nice. Yeah, really cool. I like that Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Rebel Moon, House of the Blood Axe #2. This is a new book from Titan Press. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into the story. So this story is by Zack Snyder, written by Magdalene Visaggio, with art by Clark Bent, colored by Francesco Segala, and we also have flats by Serena Del Grosso and letters by N World Designs. James. So, this is, of course, a continuation of the prequel to the Rebel Moon franchise over at Netflix. And in this issue, the comic book prequel to the highly anticipated Netflix movie Rebel Moon, with a story by acclaimed director Zack Snyder and written by award-winning comics writer Max Visaggio, as the war is looming on the horizon for planet Shashu. The reluctant ruler of the Blood Axe family is conflicted between living up to his father's domineering legacy and maintaining the peace. It is up to him to settle the conflicts within himself and his family before the entire planet erupts into war. So, what I've really been enjoying about this series has been the bits of world building that we're getting for the larger picture, right? I think, as I mentioned maybe in my first review, going into this is a brand new world that we really only know what's been out in the film, right? Everything else is still kind of be left up to be explored. And I think the purview of the Blood Axe family really brings you, because they're so involved with everything that's going on, as far as the larger, the larger conflict in the current timeline, that gives you a really interesting point of view for everything. Now, there's really some really cool things that I think the team does very well. They explore the relationship between Deborah and Darren, the siblings that we know from the film. Explores them very well. We get to see some of how they kind of grew up, what kind of relationship they have, even testing each other, try to push each other to the next level. We get to see some of the traditions that this world has been built on, Shashu, like all the choices that have been made generations prior to what we're dealing with, and how all that is leading to this conflict, both internally within the family and externally within the larger world. We get to see the Mother World forces advancing a little bit in how they kind of have relationships with these planets. And then I think with the flashbacks, we just get so much more insight into the motives and motivations of some of these characters, as all that generational stuff kind of comes to the front. As far as the art, it's really grown on me since the first issue. I think that Specifically, there are some panels where like these more elongated figures and the characters just give a little bit of an air of grandiose, like make things feel very important. The character designs, their outfits, the more cultural aspects of this planet, I feel like they've been really pulled in from a mix of a lot of different things that just makes it look, first of all, like it's definitely something new and foreign and alien, but also something that looks very good on the page. Um, and the colors really kind of tone out everything. So we'll take a look at this preview art, and then we'll go from there. So as I mentioned, I think the not only is the art like in the shadows, the use of shadows very well done here to kind of demonstrate like the importance of where the dialogue is, but also the expressions in the characters. I love the color washes and the tones. Like we go from this orange tone to the green inside, just to kind of represent that we are at a different spot. The paneling at the bottom looks pretty gnarly, and we get some pretty like this book can get pretty violent too. You won't see any of that in the preview art. Um, you will see some conflict, not conflict, but you will see the siblings training. And then this is really cool because this is like these 3 pages tell you a lot about their relationship. There's a little bit more as to the resolution of this sparring session, but it really works, right? It's the mix of the dialogue and just the very cool stylized fight. Like I love the pacing of it. I think it comes at it from very fun, entertaining angles, and then just these smaller panels highlighting like the big hit on the ground, the hands dropping the weapon, all those little things. Like they really really work. So, and as I mentioned, there's some pretty gnarly kills as well. And then also, whenever we look at the Mother World's forces, like everything looks completely different from what we're experiencing in this planet. So I think it's a very well done change to ensure that the reader is aware that we're in a completely different world, culture, people, whatever the case may be. So and of course we have a really gnarly cover from Daniel Warren Johnson for the main cover. So I think this project got some really interesting artists to do a lot of the cover work. You'll see some more at the end of the video. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying this. It's only going to be 4 issues, but I think it's really painting a very interesting picture, and it really makes you want to go back and rewatch the first film and just kind of at least the scenes with some of these characters, to see how that those feelings and those intentions kind of translated over. So if you're reading this, let me know what you think about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for the third title from DSTLRY. This is Blasfamous. Blasfamous? I'm not sure exactly how to say the title, but it definitely, I mean, you know what it's a play on. This is written with art and colored by Mirka Andolfo. We also have colors by Gianluca Papi and letters by Fabio Amelia. Now, as I mentioned, this is the third title from DSTLRY, so I was very excited to check it out. I will say, going into this one, this was not one of the standout stories for me when I read The Devil's Cut, and I just mean that I think some of it didn't fully connect with me. I was a big fan of the art, but the overall story, so I was definitely looking forward to, reading the full issue or a full issue of the story, just to see where things would kind of play out. So, from international superstar Mirka Andolfo comes a new horror comedy that only Andolfo can deliver, asking the question, how many fans is your soul worth? In a world where pop stars have ascended to divinity and the masses bow in veneration to a new generation of viral superstar, angels and demons thrive on this exaltation and revel in this spotlight that grants them unimaginable power. Clelia, the reigning queen of pop, finds herself finds her throne shaken by a newcomer, radiating with enigmatic charm as her fans waver and the public eye threatens to wander. Clelia and her demonic agent, Father Lev, are thrust into a battle for dominance on this accelerating stage of music and mysticism. How far will they go to defend her reign and unravel the mystery of this sensational new threat, mixing the sacred and the profane? Harvey Award-winning American Dolfo effortlessly merges the mythology of urban fantasy of American gods with the sardonic wit of The Good Place in a brand new dark series featuring stunning visuals and narrative. That intensity set in the glittering world of pop music. So I think one of the disconnects for me was I'm not the biggest music person, and I'm not the biggest I don't follow stars, like music stars like that. I think that's part of the disconnect for me. Um, Although the concept seems very cool and everything, like I said, it just didn't fully. Uh, the story itself and the premise was kind of the thing I was struggling with a little bit. Uh, but I wanted to check this out anyways, and this first issue is actually very good. I don't know that it is exactly for me, like the things that I enjoy reading as far as the types of stories or the themes and everything, but I think it's a very well executed first issue. Uh, it's first of all, the colors in this book are incredible. We have some preview pages that I'll show, but the way that it's stylized with this, the character designs and the colors, and just the world that is built, the contrast between some of the light and some of the darker moments, and then of course, as I mentioned, as the synopsis mentioned, this is a comedy, so it is definitely full of characters that are very witty. There's a lot of dialogue, and I mean a lot of dialogue. That was also something that kind of I bumped into a little bit. I don't like turning a page and just seeing word bubbles all over the place. Um, that's just to me, like to my brain, it's hard to process sometimes, and just kind of lose track of where the conversation should be going. But like I said, I think that's more of a personal preference. We have some really gnarly imagery. There's some really I don't want to say violent because I don't think they're violent acts that happen here, but they're definitely very much in your face about a lot of things. This book is not afraid to go to those places, and it definitely shows. So, would I recommend this book for sure? I think it is something that is outside the norm, and I think it's, like I said, a beautifully put book together. So, speaking of that, let's take a look at some of the preview art here. We have a couple of pages that I was able to pull from the preview and online. And you can see here that I wanted to put these two together because of the contrast. One of the really cool things that I think Andolfo really has taken advantage of the extra wide page, right? These pages are a little wider because it's the magazine format for the DSTLRY, and just the contrast between these two images, we say what you will about the story, these just would be like really cool looking posters on your wall. And like I said, really cool character designs, really interesting um, approaches to how these characters interact with each other and their motivations. But like I said, not totally for me. This might be something I revisit once it's collected, because I think that'll actually read very well, and I'll be able to kind of get past all my qualms in one go. And the story's been doing such a good job of putting out these really interesting books. I'm a big fan of Gone, also a big fan of Somna. So this is the first title that I didn't really fully connect with, and that was kind of the case when the Devil's Cut came out. I wasn't a big fan of all the stories that were in that preview. So I expected to bump into some things when I came to some of these items. But either way, beautiful work by American Dolphin and the team. And I think this is going to be very exciting. The people that are able to connect with this, I think they're going to love this in a way that this is something they've probably been looking for a long time. So if you're one of those people, let me know what you thought about this book down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here on the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Animal Pound #2. This is a new book from BOOMstudios. Very exciting stuff here. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into the book. This book is written by Tom King with art by Peter Gross, Tom Ravenvellen, and colors, letters by Clayton Cowell. A plethora of covers that you'll see some at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. So, I can't believe how things escalated so quickly from the first issue. I had been waiting for a little while to get this second issue because I wanted to know how big was this next step that we were going to take in the story. And boy, let me tell you, the team did not disappoint. So let's talk about this specific issue. The groundbreaking graphic storytelling event series continues as the animals find themselves faced with a new challenge: freedom. What a just fucking concept right there. With food supplies dwindling, the animals must decide quickly how best to organize their burgeoning society and make decisions as a group, or risk losing everything. Eisner Award-winning writer Tom King and New York Times best-selling author and Eisner Award-winning nominated artist Peter Gross continue their collaboration on a series that critics are already calling a classic in the making. That's how strong that first issue was, and maybe these critics are getting some stuff in advance that we're not privy to. I mean, we get these books like the weekend before things come out. But man, it is some really exciting stuff. I will say I didn't know how Tom King would escalate things. Right in the last issue, we see that all the animals in the pound have now gained their freedom. But what does this mean? This freedom also comes with a price, with a burden, and I think it's interesting to see how how much of a how grounded are you going to keep a series that follows these animals. And yeah, it just like I said, the first opening pages, they don't disappoint. So let's take a look at some of the preview art here, where we see one of the dogs in the pound chasing one of the rabbits from the pound. This is just kind of human, not human nature. This is just their natural instinct, right? Especially as you start to begin to struggle with food. I think Peter Gross does a really great job with, especially with this 5-panel page, as you see one of the dogs go into the bush because the bunny was hiding, and then just the contrast as he comes out. Now, obviously, I don't think any of this stuff, and they explore this in the book, right? What are the consequences of a heinous act like this when this society that is teetering on the brink of like collapse, when something like this happens? Um, there's dialogue in the pages. The preview pages that I pulled don't have any dialogue, but there's actually a lot of dialogue where these animals. I think in this issue, Tom King fully fleshes out a lot of the characters that were established in the first issue, and we kind of see what roles they're going to play. We kind of start to see what problems they're going to start having. But then there's still a few questions that are still left unanswered for me. So yeah, this is a very exciting issue. I didn't think, obviously, this is all a metaphor for a lot of things, and I think you can dive into that as much as you want, or you can kind of take the book at face value. But man, I would recommend you just really, really think about this one, because the question that it's presenting, all the things, the allegories, like it's just, I don't know, it's really, really good stuff. I am very glad that we have a series like this that allows us to explore themes like that and kind of put things into a certain perspective. So all that while looking at Peter Gross's beautiful art at some points. As you saw, things can also get pretty gnarly. So everything just really works very well. I think Tom Ravenvellen also, when it comes to setting the mood with a color palette in a specific page, just really, really nails it. So yeah, the team just really working very well together. I was surprised how engaged I was reading the second issue, because it's very rare that it's very rare that you read a first issue and that kind of leaves you, like very surprised, and then you go into the next issue and the surprise kind of maintains, right? Usually with comic books, or even with any storytelling, there's a diminishing returns, but not this one. I might even say that this issue is better than the first. So we'll see. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments. If you have read this, As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Cobra Commander number 2. This is a new book from Image Skybound. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Andrea Milana and Elisa Leone on colors. Russ Wooten on letters. We'll see some plenty of covers at the end of the video as well. Stay tuned for that. So after last issue's shocking reveal, Cobra Commander searches for a power greater than any on Earth, but when the mission brings him face to face with fan favorite G.I. Joe faction, will they become friends or foe, or something entirely, differently? So, interestingly enough, as I mentioned in my first review, I'm not very familiar with the world of G.I. Joe, so. I definitely had to make a few notes about like who are these characters, but Joshua Williamson is so good at just introducing the concept and giving you pretty much everything you need to know within a couple of pages of like who are these characters, what are their motivations, is there a line that they're not going to cross. This issue definitely kicks off with a pretty gory, bloody, gnarly sequence. You'll get to see that a little bit of that in the preview art. We are introduced or reintroduced, for those that are familiar with, to Buzzer and Ripper, who pretty much in my notes I just wrote these guys are psychos, and yeah, they have no chill, like for sure at all. Joshua Williamson goes to the extreme with them. That's probably who they're supposed to be. We also get to meet another character. I won't spoil who that is, but if you're familiar with Buzzer and Ripper, you probably know who's coming up. Now, I think another thing that Joshua Williamson makes very interesting is the Cobra Commander's mission itself, right? And the search for this Energon. What does that entail? Everything he's doing right now is to bring back and help out at Cobra Law. But even the person that's kind of going along with him, they're not allies. They're not friends. He's only there because of the mission. They're both there because of the mission. They each have their own motivations, and I think that's very clear. So in this world, Cobra Commander really is by himself against pretty much everything, right? Whatever plan he's got in mind, he's gonna have to accomplish that in spite of what everybody else is doing. So that's really interesting. Now, let's take a look at some of the preview art here. So, as you can see here, as I mentioned, just super gory, like zero chill. These guys just show up and start interrogating some people, trying to get information out of them. And even when you think, oh, that guy's about to talk, they're probably going to let him go. No, they're not. They are going to drag him behind their car in the most. And I love how subtle the art is here. Like these 4 panels at the bottom, the little panels at the bottom, they could have gone for a lot more in your face blood and violence, but they really chose against it. So I really appreciate the restraint, because I think it allows you to really leave some of those things up to your imagination, where it's probably even more messed up than what's really going on. So yeah, this book is absolutely just so much fun. We do have one cool thing to show you guys. So if you pick this up and you go all the way back to the letter pages, I sent in an email. So the first letter page here, the first letter here, that's from me. I sent it over after reading the first issue to their email on file here. And it's really cool because this is the first time I've had one of my emails published in a comic book. Every once in a while, I'll send something into these publishers, and I think, it's very cool that they kind of take the time to really go through this stuff. I think it's really fun that they have responded to it and posted on it. So yeah, very excited, to see where this book goes, and very excited that my letter was published in the back. So make sure to go read it, and let me know what you think about that, especially for those long-time GI Joe fans. So if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing something a little different. I'm actually going to go over their Ashcan for Man's Best #1 is actually coming out this week. Make sure to look for it at your comic shop. Now, if you don't know what an Ashcan is, it's a small preview of an upcoming book. And in this case, we're going to be taking a look at the preview of the Ashcan for Man's Best #1. This is a book from BOOMstudios, written by Pornsak Pichetshote, and art by Jesse Lonergan. So let's take a look at the full creative team here. We also have letters by Jeff Powell. Apologies if I mispronounce any of the names. I know I definitely wanted to make sure that I said that correctly. But what is this book about? Let's talk about it. Homeward bound on an alien world, Man's Best follows 3 emotional support pets living on the Starship Horizon, a spacecraft searching for a new home to house a humanity comprised of bad decisions and corporate greed. But after the ships crash and the crew is captured, these loyal pets are their owner's only hope. Outfitted with outrageous tech, these 3 best friends must traverse a hostile world to rescue their owners, leaving them as the only hope for humanity that might not be worth saving. In a harrowing adventure, the pets are faced with the challenges that threaten to destroy their most valuable treasure, their friendship. What a really cool concept, right? This makes me think of like um, some of those 90s films about the pets trying to come back home. But obviously, this takes a really cool sci-fi approach to it. Another thing that I'm very excited. First of all, Pornsak is a fantastic writer. I've really enjoyed a lot of the previous work, but what really got me excited was seeing the name Jesse Lonergan on art. I'm a big fan of Jesse's work. I was part of his Patreon for a little while, and just the stuff that he is able to do in comics is fantastic. Like you'll see when we look at some of the preview pages for the art, but it's just it's a very, very cool approach to storytelling, to character design, and just overall a really fun way to make comics. So let's take a look at some of that preview art. As you can see here, and I mentioned this, just the character designs, even when you look at the pets, which I think the concept of these emotional support pets that are on the ship, like just very cool sci-fi stuff. And as these, as they kind of go into what they need to, it is interesting that I feel like there's a lot more detail and a lot more care put into the design of the animals than the actual humans themselves. I don't know if that's just me or that's just by design from the book, because these pets are our protagonists. But yeah, I just really love Jesse's work, and I'm very excited to see where we go from here. Now, before we take any further steps, let's take a look at the trailer for that Boom put out for this book, and we'll come back and talk more about this series. I mean, that just looks super rad, and I'm very excited to get into this. Now, this book comes out in March, but like I said, the Ashcan will hit your comic shops this week. If you don't see that, and if you don't see the Ashcan in your new comics book, wherever they put the new comics in your shop, make sure to ask. Sometimes the Ashcans are things that they don't get put out immediately because they know only a certain specific group of comic collectors and comic fans are looking for things like that. I'm definitely gonna try to get to my shop early in hopes of picking up an Ashcan. So hopefully I can find one for this. I was able to snag one for Animal Pound. I'm also pretty excited that Boom's doing Ashcans. I think it's really cool. It's just kind of it feels like almost a forgotten part of comic book making, because you can do so many things digitally now and previews and stuff like that. I would think that, printing and producing an Ashcan is an expense and risk that a lot of these companies maybe don't see the full benefit of. But boy, oh boy, I'm excited. So yeah, really excited to see what else this series brings. But I mean, the premise, the character designs, and just the fact that we're getting more books about animals protagonists. Like this year we're having a lot of things like that. We have the series Strays coming out as well. We have Animal Pound by Tom King also coming out from Boom. So like animals are taking over 2024 in comic books, and I'm here for it. So if you're excited about this series, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. If you were able to find one of these Ashcans, let us know down in the comments, because I will be jealous if I don't get one myself. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.